Would you pray with me, please? Oh God, may the words of my mouth and the thoughts of all of us give us an understanding of this meaning of death and life. All of our understanding and wisdom comes from you. So bless us as we learn this day. Amen. This day is a day for broken hearts. It's one that has actually been celebrated for a long, long time, and celebration is kind of a strange word to put on it. But it is in the remembering of those who have died, those who have gone before us from this world into the next, that we remember each year with purpose and meaning, that those lives are never lost. But it often tears scars off. It often opens wounds that are there that sometimes we try to cover up. And even though this day in the church we celebrate those who have passed during the last year, we really look at a much broader and deeper picture, because death, loss of those we love, is a part of the wholeness of life. It is a part of our journey of faith, even when we think about Jesus' death and the loss his family experienced, and then that promise in faith of resurrection. The pain of losing a loved one rises up. And it doesn't happen just on this day. It might not even happen for you on this day, but it does happen for those who are close to us. It's the feeling in the chest, all of a sudden tight and grasping at us. A tear, perhaps, that doesn't want to stop for a couple of minutes. There is an emptiness in loss. And so our text today invites us to look at Job. But this is unusual because we're not looking at the whole of Job's story. If you don't know the story of Job, I'm going to invite you to go into the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, and read through it. It's quite a disturbing story. It's one of extreme loss. Job loses everything over a game that's being played between God and the devil. And his friends try to help, and then they're not so helpful. And that's most of what the book of Job is about. And then we have this interesting piece from chapter 28, which scholars will tell us is probably come from somewhere else and placed in here. And it is about this question of wisdom and the value of wisdom. And so we wonder, what's going on? Everything bad that happened to Job, we may look at that now and think, yep, okay, we didn't have the same experience as Job, but our life sure feels like Job's life right now, right? Nothing is right. Nothing is the same. Everything is a loss. You don't know how many times I hear people use those words, that this whole year 2020 is a loss. And really, it's not. But for some of us, there's deep pain and suffering. And so we come to this text. But wisdom, where can it be found? Where is the place of understanding? Can we, like Job, discern that God is the source of wisdom, not the gold? Now, what I was going to do is bring a whole pile of jewelry and coins and all kinds of fancy, rich-looking things, but I didn't. But that's what's lifted up for us in this text, right? Nope. Not the gold, not the jewelry, not the gems. They name several: jasper and coral and rubies and topaz. Now, wisdom, where does she come from? Where is the place of understanding? Oh, in the midst of pain, if we just could have that little nugget, if we could just have that thing, understanding. Destruction and death have said, we've heard a report of her. Oh yeah, we sure have this year, haven't we? And I don't mean to make light of it. It's been a horrifying year when we think of all of the death and destruction, not just of human life, but of property, of land, everything. Yes, we heard a report of wisdom, even in the midst of that. But for us, we need to get around a corner and choose this wisdom. We need to choose intentionally that we believe that that wisdom is there. You see, if we go to the very end of this 28th chapter, it says, look, the fear of the Lord is wisdom. Turning from evil is understanding. Turning from the stuff that shows up in our head and sometimes on our television sets that keeps us from understanding that the wisdom is in God. The wisdom is with God. And so to keep the inside of our lives matching the outside of where we want to be is truly important as we understand life and death. We have to choose how we will think about wisdom and how we will think about life. Do we choose that bad things happen because we've been bad? Sometimes there are consequences to choices, but God doesn't punish us that way. How is life enhanced by how we live now without our loved ones whose lives we celebrate today? How will our light shine brighter because of the experience right now of this pandemic? Is that possible? God's wisdom would say absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Because God's wisdom, that light shines brighter than all of the gems, all of the gold listed in this text. That bright light is where you can emerge, even when you think in the midst of grief that you will never, ever get there. Often with grief and loss, we don't know where to go or what to do, and we remain frozen in time, kind of lock ourselves in and close our heart off to the world. And there are times that may be necessary. But as time unfolds, these opportunities arise to share in this wisdom that comes from God. Remaining frozen isn't what God would choose for us. C.S. Lewis wrote, "No one ever told me grief felt so like fear." It does. It keeps us from living. It keeps us afraid of making choices and being in the world. And so we can choose to look at it, to see it in a different way, even in terrible, terrible destruction. Mirabai Starr, a spiritual writer, a wonderful teacher of mine, whose daughter was a teenager, I think maybe 13 years old, was killed in a car accident some years ago. And Mirabai writes, "My spiritual life began the day my daughter died." Can you imagine? She'd been a spiritual teacher for years, studied, taught. My spiritual life began the day my daughter died. There's a deep wisdom in that. She was totally unprepared. She writes, my most powerful catalyst for transformation, my fiercest and most competitive teacher, her daughter's death. Wow. Wisdom. Understanding that shows up in ways that surprise us and bring us into wholeness. Sometimes a wholeness that we can't even see, certainly can't understand at the moment. The treasure of life, the treasures are not in the things. That's very clear. Not any of the things. Not in our homes, all the trinkets we keep, not in our bank accounts. Treasures are in the relationship we have with God and the service that comes in our life because of that relationship. Wisdom comes from within and lives outwardly. A year ago, these beloveds whose lives we celebrate today were with us. And as we move forward this Thanksgiving, they will not be, and into the holidays. And so our hearts will ache. But we need to and are invited to find the nuggets of grace. Find the nuggets that even in an unraveling world, the wisdom of love is still there. Grace in the mystery of all that life holds. Bishop Curry, whose new book is out, Love is the Way, had a little quote at the beginning of this introduction, even, not even very far into the book. It's a quote from Frederick Buechner in his book, Now and Then, a Memoir of Vocation. Buechner writes, listen to your life. Good words for today. Listen to your life and see it for the fathomless mystery it is. In the boredom and pain of it, no less than the excitement and gladness. Touch, taste, smell your way to the holy and hidden heart of it. Because in the last analysis, all moments are key moments, and life itself is grace. So take those nuggets, the nuggets that you're collecting in your heart, each one of you, and hold them. Hold them lightly and help them find their way from your heart into the world. Find the nuggets of grace, the wisdom and the mystery. Not in the gold, but in the goodness, the kindness, the love, the hope. Seek, dear friends, the wisdom of God so that we can live with loss and generate a reverence for God's mystery and the stuff we just don't understand. May God be with you. Amen.